Now proceed to consideration of Scott Amendment 3 to S559.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Assistant Secretary Nichols, welcome. It's good to see you again today. While the subject of the hearing today is Brazil, I'd like to take my time today to ask you some questions about another country of your responsibility, and that's Mexico. I think you and I are going to be on the same page today, but I just want to make sure with a few questions. Last Thursday, Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador threatened to directly interfere in future U.S. elections. AMLO said this, I'm going to quote, "If they do not change their attitude and think that they're going to use Mexico for their propaganda, electoral, and political purposes, we're going to call for them," meaning Mexicans and other Hispanics, we're going to call for them not to vote for that party. Assistant Secretary Nichols, does the State Department oppose foreign interference in U.S. elections? Just a yes or no answer would be fine.
Yes, Senator.
I appreciate that. Does the State Department condemn AMLO's threat to interfere in future U.S. elections?
Just as we respect Mexico's sovereignty, we ask that President López Obrador respect U.S. sovereignty.
I certainly agree with that. Earlier this month, Mexican drug cartels kidnapped 4 American citizens and murdered 2 of them. Assistant Secretary Nichols, does the State Department condemn the murder of Americans by drug cartels?
Absolutely, Senator, and the protection of American citizens around the world is our highest priority.
I appreciate that. After these tragic murders of American citizens, the Mexican president publicly claimed, and I quote, "Mexico is safer than the United States. There is no issue with traveling safely through Mexico." Yet last month, the State Department issued a level 4 do not travel warning for many parts of Mexico. Assistant Secretary Nichols, does the State Department agree with AMLO's claim here that Mexico is safer than the United States?
Well, don't want to get into direct comparisons with the United States, but I'll note that it is vital that we work together with the Mexican government to improve security for the benefit of Mexicans and the benefit of Americans who wish to visit Mexico. Obviously, those who suffer the most from the cartel violence in Mexico are its own citizens.
I understand.
And
My
we are
primary
committed
right now is
cooperating with them
Yes.
to attack those cartels.
The U.S. intelligence community has reportedly estimated that Mexican drug cartels control more than 20% of Mexican territory. The cartels also control large swaths of terrain across our southern border. These cartels are responsible for facilitating the passage of a record number of illegal migrants into the U.S. and almost all of the illicit drugs that come across that border. So my next question for you is it the State Department's position that the government of President López Obrador should do more to counter drug cartels operating in Mexico?
It's vital that we redouble our efforts under the bicentennial framework to cooperate to attack the cartels, to take down the networks that traffic in drugs, people,
My question, Assistant Secretary, is should President López Obrador be doing more to counter the drug cartels in Mexico?
We should all be doing more.
I agree with that, too. President López Obrador said that Mexico does not produce fentanyl. In particular, AMLO said, "Here, we do not produce fentanyl." That's a direct quote from him. Assistant Secretary Nichols, is fentanyl produced in Mexico?
Fentanyl is produced in Mexico.
Absolutely. So are AMLO's comments accurate or are they inaccurate?
Mexico receives chemical precursors from around the world. Those precursors are used to produce fentanyl
In Mexico.
In Mexico.
I think it's quite clear that these cartels have flourished because the López Obrador government has made a deliberate choice not to take them on. President López Obrador also continues to take arbitrary and punitive actions against U.S. businesses in Mexico, including threats of expropriation. You and I have talked about this before. I should add that we're seeing a similar disturbing dynamic against U.S. businesses in other Western Hemisphere countries, including Honduras, which, as of last night, I understand, is pivoting away from Taiwan, apparently preparing to recognize Communist China. Do you agree, Assistant Secretary, that these threats against American businesses are unacceptable?
The promotion and defense of free markets, access for American business is a priority for this administration, and we believe that American jobs and American investment and trade are beneficial for countries around the hemisphere, not just the United States.
Well, I look forward to working with you. This committee, I'm certain, looks forward to working with the State Department to lock arms to right the ship with respect to election security here in America, with respect to the safety of Americans traveling in Mexico, with respect to cartels that are committing human and drug trafficking that are impacting our country, and certainly dealing with these expropriation threats coming from Mexico. So thank you. I look forward to working with you, Assistant Secretary Nichols.
Likewise. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so every time I put out a video you can know about it. It'll come up in your feed. Hit that like button if you liked it, and be positive. Peace.